A Florida man cleared of charges and a stabbing last year in Jacksonville is now facing a murder charge in Kentucky.
Police say he told them that he blacked out, and then when he woke up, the woman he was with was dead. First Coast News reporter Nick Perot has been tracking this case. He joins us live tonight in the studio. Nick?
Yes, well, Heather, Anthony, according to our media partner in Louisville, Kentucky, WHAS, the suspect from Jacksonville met the victim in Georgia at a hippie festival called the Rainbow Family of Living Light gathering in northern Georgia. From there, they hitchhiked to Kentucky, and that's where they found the woman's body inside this neighborhood in Elizabethtown. Police responded to a call of a suspicious person in this neighborhood about 45 minutes south of Louisville Saturday. Police say that man, 20-year-old Joseph Brian Capstraw, told them he needed a hospital and that he killed the woman. He then led police to the body. She has been identified, but police have yet to release her name as they're waiting to notify the next of kin. According to our sister station, WHAS, reports indicate Capstraw got into an argument with the woman before blacking out. Later, Capstraw says he observed the woman was badly beaten and he had multiple injuries on his hands. The investigation is still ongoing, but this is not the first time the 20-year-old has faced a felony charge. Capstraw faced a second-degree charge of attempted murder in Florida back in May of last year. Documents from the state attorney's office in Jacksonville say he was homeless at the time and cut a 24-year-old homeless man on the chest and neck during a fight. Capstraw admitted to cutting the man and burying the knife before flagging down police to say he had been attacked. The charge of attempted murder was ultimately dropped as witnesses backed up Capstraw's claim of self-defense, and the knife fight victim was highly intoxicated and confrontational when talking to police the night of the stabbing. The victim, too, also admitted he carried a long blade at his side, and witnesses said the 24-year-old and friend approached Capstraw first. Joseph Capstraw is being held on a $500,000 bond. His next court date is scheduled for July 20th at 9 a.m. Heather?
Nick Perot reporting live tonight. Thank you.